Assalamu alaikum salam. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to be doing a second review of the day, and that would be the new Squid album, Oh Monolith. So, British rock band from the Windmill scene. Squid is back with their second album, Oh Monolith. And if you don't know about the Windmill scene, it's essentially a new wave of art rock, post punk, prog rock, artsy rock music from the UK. You know, talking about Black Midi, talking about Black Country New Road, talking maybe a little bit about Jockstrap, which also sort of branches off from Black Country New Road, maybe a little bit of a Gilla band in there, but Squid has been one of the most interesting bands to come out of that lineup, aside from Black Midi and Black Country New Road. And a couple years ago, they released Bright Greenfield, which I really, really enjoyed. It's instrumentally decadent and light and watery and very interesting and layered. The vocals are harsh and eccentric and full of personality. The lyrics are really interesting. The songs are long, yet they still structurally sound fantastic, and the singles from Squid are amazing, especially the track Pamphlet became one of my favorite songs of 2021. So obviously I was super excited when I learned that they are releasing a new album this year, and the singles sound freaking amazing. For one, we have the track Swing and a Dream, which is also the album opener. It is a mid-paced cerebral track with watery keyboards, jazzy drums, these slow building climbing guitars, which I think is really numbing and soothing, yet interesting and artsy. And apparently this track is about the swing painting, which belongs to the Rococo movement in France. Thus, we have Rococo Curves Soothe Me, the line. And it's kind of funny because recently I have taken an art history class in my college, and every single week we learn about a new artistic movement. And when we talked about Rococo art movement, we had to do a discussion board. You know what I'm talking about, those silly discussion boards. And we had to choose a painting to write about, and I chose the swing because the swing appealed to me the most. Just the colors, the composition, the use of light is just so soothing and soft and amazing. And this track is basically about that, and I really love it when songs are written for paintings. And the trumpet solo at the very back end of the track is fantastic as well. Following that, we have Devil's Den with the slow, off-kiltered, finger-picked guitars, some beautiful horn arrangements. It builds up very slowly to a noisy climax, but there's just something about this track that's just so dry. Like, instrumentally, it's kind of dry and it doesn't really have much to offer. And unfortunately, I can pretty much say the same thing for the next track, Siphon Song, which is a 6-minute long song with talk box vocals and slow-paced guitars. Honestly, I just don't really get the appeal to the track. It's kind of noisy in an uninteresting way, and it just feels like it's been building up and building up and building up, and it doesn't really reach any closure. Of course, we have other singles on the album, such as the next two tracks, Undergrowth and The Blades. With Undergrowth, it starts off with these moody shots of horns that are very random and it literally came out of nowhere, but then it just crashes down into this funky, groovy hand drum beat. And then we have Ollie Judge, the vocalist of the band, providing some eccentric vocals, which I really, really love. Easily the strongest element of this album. Also, it's important to note that the guy drums while he's singing, and that is actually insanely difficult. So I have major respect for that. But I love this track overall. It's jumpy, it's strange. I also like the insane church bells and screaming keyboards at the end. And then we have the Blades with the slow building intro, and then it sort of turns into this long and windy Radiohead-esque art rock track about authority and power. We have some sweet, dense, and watery guitars matched with cowbells and hand claps. We have these catastrophic, bitter chord progressions and a very downtrodden ending. It is an awesome track with highs and lows. It's like I witnessed a short film throughout the entirety of this track, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it's one of the strongest singles of the year so far. And then we have After the Flash, which is another really spacey, stripped back track with one note guitars and vocals. Unfortunately, I understand why some people are not a huge fan of Bright Green Field because it has a lot of these very sloggy one note moments. I personally like them because at least they sounded really interesting. But unfortunately, for tracks like this, it just ends up sounding kind of drab to me. Thankfully, the track Greenlight is anything but drab. We have some jazzy bass and drums and some really sporadic and wild vocal ramblings. Ollie Judge is one hair away from turning into Geordie Greep on this track. And finally, the album ends off with If You Had Seen the Bull Swimming Attempts, You Would Have Stayed Away, which is a really cool track title. We have a very interesting intro with the whispery refrains, and then we have the cowbells and the bass and the horns working in harmony, and it turns into this ragged rock cacophony. Instrumentally, it builds up to something, but again, it just does that. It builds up and builds up and builds up, and it just ends. It doesn't really have a release or closure, and it just leaves something to be wanted. So yeah, as much as I love the singles on this album, and as much as I want to love this album, there are indeed a lot of moments in the album that feel a little underwhelming, a little underbaked. So yeah, I'm giving the new Squid album light to decent 7 out of 10. So, have you listened to the new Squid album, or Monolith? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.